Well, hello everybody. We are just jumping right on into this thing with the buttons changing their sizes again. Whew, that's a pain in the butt. Hi everybody, my name is Mercy. Welcome back to the channel. It is a Saturday night once again. We are here for some Dungeons and Dragons. Gonna get ourselves up and going with this once again. Let's get some hype in the chat. I like some hype in the chat. Let's do it. We are back once again with our players. You know them. You love them. I hope. You better love them. They're awesome. Let's go ahead and welcome back our players. From the top, we've got Alan playing Cobalt. The Cobalt.
Don't worry, I have my soap for this time.
He's got his soap, folks. We're all good. Moving on down the list, we've got Joey Avalon playing Kaiser.
Not in jail this time, thankfully.
Yeah, right. We've got the Tanuki XP playing Maka Pai 2.
Tanuki playing a wolf. Will wonders ever cease?
And certainly not least, but rounding it up and making us a full-fledged team, Bengali the Tiger Paladin playing Waking Dream.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, hello. So, everybody, welcome back in. This is session 2. This is episode number 2. Let's go ahead and get a quick little recap, shall we? Let's see. We'll go with this one. I think this will be okay. This is probably not okay. No, I'll use it. So, last time in Heroes of Tethra, our adventurers ventured out from the starting point that we all began our story from. A prison located in the town of Dialt, located on the eastern side of the large continent of Windus, just south of the city of Doranil. While inside the prison, they were greeted by a new prisoner, namely Cobalt, being thrown into prison for the apparent crime of ordering far too much food and not having any way to pay for it at the local tavern. Several other people joined our adventurers in the prison, including a high elven man, specifically a sun elfen man, named Gil, a older human woman named Amelia, and an orc who never got his name out there. He was too busy being boastful and didn't bother to say his name in all the boasting. Suddenly, after just a day of Cobalt joining the group, they did no longer want to stay put in the prison and launched an attack against the guard to free themselves. Successfully freeing themselves from the prison, they ended up looking out into the courtyard just outside the main building, as Amelia had been abducted and taken away by the warden through magical means of some sort. Out in the courtyard at this time, Maka was just absolutely destroying everything in the courtyard possible, including our orc friend, who died at the hands of Maka, and this large dire wolf met the other adventurers as they were freeing themselves from the prison, looking for Amelia. They ventured down into the warden's abode and into a secret cavern underneath, where a grotesque ritual of transformation was occurring. They interrupted it, so it did not affect Amelia, but unfortunately were too late to save Gil, as the transformation had already occurred. Putting him down and ending his misery, they escaped back out and out to the west into the woods, Gil's body in tow. After a short burial off-screen, the adventurers are once again ready to make their plans. So, wayward adventurers, what would you like to do?
So my first question would be are we still on the move, or are we just sort of hunkered down, relaxing at a moment, sort of taking everything in?
At the moment, you are hunkering down and able to relax. Yes, you have gone a semi-decent enough way out, and you feel like it's an okay time to sit down and rest a bit. Which is good, because you need that right now.
Well, if we're sitting just sort of hunkered down right now, then Kaiser's he's sort of chilling back against a tree, head leaned against it, eyes closed, and just sort of throws out that everything that happened back there, that's a lot to unpack.
Is there a stream or any sort of water nearby?
Go ahead and give me a survival check.
A 9.
Unfortunately, you are not able to pick up any of the sounds of the stream nearby over the hustle and bustle that you've just gone through, and nothing currently seems to strike your attention as a nearby stream or source of water.
He's gonna dig through his bag, with whatever water's left in the water skin, and sort of pour some onto himself and start scrubbing, because he is still covered in the viscera of our previous encounter.
Okay.
He is still freaking out that he is dirty, and it is he needs to be cleaned. Ew, 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 ew.
Pipe down. Before you know it, the guards will be looking for us, and you don't know when they could be around the next tree.
He'll keep quiet, but he's still going to try to scrub himself up a bit.
I don't suppose anyone here knows prestidigitation. That'd be the easiest way to clean our compatriots.
Not me, unfortunately. That's out of my wheelhouse.
You could always do the simple thing and roll around in the dirt to get off whatever refuse you don't want on yourself.
Amelia speaks up, who has joined you. Now, Maka. That's not a human thing to do.
It is not.
Cobalt does it.
Cobalt drops to the ground and starts rolling around in the dirt to just dust himself up a bit.
I don't understand. It makes sense. Once the dirt goes in the fur, all you must do then is just wash the fur.
I don't have fur.
I was about to say, you gotta remember, not all of us here have fur, Maka.
Yes, I certainly do not have fur. Plenty of hair, but that's all the top of my head.
I thought it would work the same.
You've quite a lot to learn still, young one.
There's nooks
You were the
and
one that
crannies
stopped us in the first place. You said not to go back to your house, and I don't understand quite why.
Well, I suppose you wouldn't understand. Perhaps one of our new compatriots would be able to explain. I certainly can. I just wonder if we're all on the same wavelength.
Well, the simplest answer would be that, considering it was a prison break, her house would be the first place guards would look for her.
That is exactly correct. Chances are they're going to be looking for the ones that broke out, and I am well known in this town. They certainly know where I live. As you know, Maka, they came knocking nearly every day for the last couple months. It would not be surprising if they ended up immediately going to my home in search of me and seeing if there was anything that I had returned to retrieve or anything of that nature. Which is unfortunate, for there is quite a few things I could use.
That being said, it wasn't necessarily the most up and up of prisons. It is entirely within the realm of possibility that there's no official record. I mean, I can't think of any other prisons where they would subject their the imprisoned to that.
No.
Simply for just or simply for the minor crimes that, well, we committed.
Alleged crimes for some of us.
Yes, alleged.
Yes.
Am I gathering that what happened back there was not normal? That whomever goes to prison does not get taken down to areas to forego corrections and turn into other creatures?
Yeah, no, not normally. Normal prisons, you just usually sit in a cell until you get a fair trial about what your crimes are.
Oh, you were serious.
Though corruption does run deep in some of them, but nothing like that.
It's true, corruption is definitely a factor, and this is not something that I have ever known Dial to participate in. Though, to be honest, I've never run into this side of the law either. It's quite a mystery for me.
Speaking of that, we do have to think, too, that while that might not have been official or on the record, someone was investing money and time into that operation, and we just seriously rocked their boat.
I would certainly say so, especially seeing the state of affairs leaving. It's quite the scene.
Do you mean the red-eyed man?
Yes, the one they called the Warden.
He wasn't very nice.
No, young one, he certainly was not. Well, it strikes me as perhaps you are willing to attempt to maybe scout out my home, see what might be going on, or am I reading the situation incorrectly?
I guess the first thing would be to ask, like, if your home isn't an option, is there anywhere else that you have that you can go?
Potentially. There's a family in town that I know, but moving closer into town, it would be a little bit of a risk, one could say, as my home is outside of the stone walls that surround Dialt, but theirs is inside the protections.
Now, it's been a couple days, and a lot has happened, so you can correct me if I'm wrong, but if I recall, you said that the reason they arrested you was for being a witch, right?
Yes, that's correct.
What happened that made them think that to begin with?
She stammers for a second, and then looks down to Maka. Simply says, well, this one here would be able to explain a little bit better, I think, as they were there as well.
The guards were coming in regularly to ask for more potions from Amelia. You see, she knows how to make them, and make them quite well. Normally, I stayed low on the floor. They didn't ask any questions. They looked at me, but just assumed I was a large dog, if I remember you telling me that correctly, Amelia.
Yes.
Unfortunately, one of them got a little violent when she couldn't produce the potion that they wanted in the amount of time that they wanted, and I could not stand idly by and allow that to happen. And tripping over their own feet like a paltry pup. Next thing I know, I'm being told to leave. He gives Amelia a look. And then more guards came and collected her while I was out. And with all due respect, Amelia, Amelie did tell me to come get you. Or at least do something about you and being in that prison.
I did tell the little girl to stay away, to keep herself safe, but I guess she went to find you. She saw me being taken away and was very upset about the entire situation. I told her not to worry and to go home, but that one is quite the fighter's spirit. I am glad she came to you, though.
Yes, well, I did make her a promise. Would it be possible to stay with her and her family?
They were indeed the family I was thinking of, yes. I have done them a great kindness, as I've spoken with you many a time. They would surely take me in if need be. They would hopefully be able to hide me well, but it is also difficult, for I do not wish to bring any kind of trouble upon the family. They've already suffered enough. But we get ahead of ourselves. First things first, we must find out what's going on inside of the town to know if it's even an available option. And if I am to not be able to stay, I'll need a few things, most certainly. Well, I think it would be safe to say that we can rest for a time, and if you fine gentlemen are able to go ahead and help me get back to my house just outside of the walls, we can see what happens and be a little quiet about it, hopefully, and we can go from there. Of course, if you would like to do something different and don't want to risk it, I understand entirely.
Well,
At the
first
very
things-
least, if you would like, I can go retrieve whatever you would like for me to retrieve.
We will see. Thank you, Maka.
Well, first things first. Paltry Pup was a pleasantly produced alliteration. Masterfully done.
Thank you, and poultry. Poultry.
Second of all, I don't foresee any problems getting to your house if stealth is the issue.
I have spent
Ah.
long enough making my way around these guards in these cities. I don't see a problem myself.
I have a couple more tricks up my sleeve, similar to what was used in the prison. I'm positive that something within my repertoire can assist us with getting to your home.
That is good to hear. You use strange magics unlike any that I've seen before. It is commonplace for people to practice the magical arts, but yours is something unique. It's quite refreshing, truthfully.
I get that a lot.
Young one, as Maka is addressing Cobalt,
I'm listening.
there is a river that separates the farmlands from the houses. You might be able to find a way to wash yourself off there.
Okay, good. But I'll help too. Helping Amelia, I mean.
Well, that's quite sweet. Thank you. But first, you've all done quite a lot to save my skin. Certainly you could have turned the tail and left, but here you are, and I thank you for that. And whether the town knows it or not, the town of Dialt also thanks you for that. For where would they be without my potions? But let us rest. We've just endured quite a thing and seen some sights that the gods themselves would pray that no one would have to see in their lifetimes. Perhaps there is a local area, Maka, that you know of that would be safer in your travels here?
Unfortunately, it's quite a dense forest from here to anywhere else.
Very well. Well, I shall let the four of you, who have better eyes than I do and better senses all around, to hopefully find a place to settle down for a few hours and get a little bit of rest to recuperate. How does that sound?
I do know some thick brush near the river that we could at least stay. It will not have a roof over it, but it will provide us water, plenty of reeds to hide in should anyone come looking.
What do the rest of you think?
He's as good of a lead as any.
Very well.
Well, as Rindesh says, it's better to dwell in the wilderness than with angry chickens.
How
Is
you
that from
tolerate
experience?
angry chickens is beyond me. But in either case, follow me.
He's reading out of his prayer book.
Honestly, after that gel slop, some chicken would be good right now.
Well, who would like to go ahead and guide us? Maka, I believe you know the way, yes?
Maka's already like 10 steps ahead because he already said follow me.
Oh. Follow the
We'll
path.
quickly run after him.
Follow the wolf we shall. Alright. So the four of you and Amelia traverse through the dense forest for just a little bit, about a mile, I want to say, go ahead, for like that area of a travel, before you begin to hear the trickling of water as it's rushing through a stream, the gentle burbling of a brook against its shores. The trees do thin out a little bit, but for the most part, it still stays relatively thick and breaks line of sight in a lot of different ways. You do feel like if you were to hunker down here, while things would not necessarily spot you easily from a distance, you too could not easily spot things from a distance. It's rather secluded, which is good in this situation as far as you can tell. That's kind of what you're looking for, a chance to stay hidden. Doing the normal things that you would, taking advantage of the water, refilling water skins, taking a dip momentarily to clean yourselves off, and resting. If you have rations, please mark off one for each of you, and if someone will mark off an additional ration for Amelia, that would be appreciated.
I'll share. Cobalt will share.
Okay. So everyone mark off one. Cobalt will mark off 2. Do you wish to create a campfire?
Before anyone, starts getting the campfire up, Maka says, if you wish to create fire, I suggest we move a little bit further back into the forest here. You see, down here by the river, the light would be easily spotted thanks to the reflection of the water. But if you go further uphill, the trees should obscure us quite nicely. Directly, to give you the better view in your mind's eye, the reeds of which you guys are staying in there's a little bit of a fisherman spot not too far by, but directly ahead is the vast farmland. We actually, during the travel, have actually gone quite a wide berth around the farmlands toward the outer east side of the wall.
Okay.
Behind you at this point will be the woods. To the front is starting to thin out a little bit, but you are still mostly secluded and surrounded by trees, yes. So, would anyone like to light a fire, or are we going without a fire tonight?
Cobalt's fine without it. However, he would. Amelia, are you cold? Do you need a fire?
With a little bit of extra covering, I should be okay. Especially if it means the safety of us and keeping us hidden.
Yeah, I would agree. I feel like a fire's too risky at this point for right now, anyways.
This would provide me a perfect opportunity, Amelia, if you would like for me to go back home and retrieve some things for you.
If you are up for it, certainly to do a little bit of taking a look around, but be careful. You don't need to go inside just yet.
Very well. I'll return shortly.
You want me to go with you?
If you can keep up, and only if you can keep up, little one.
Okay.
Okay. So
Wait,
Amaka,
hang on. I've got an idea here. Kaiser, out here hearing the keep up idea, Kaiser will walk over, and if he's not opposed to it, of course, Kaiser will first start by lifting up Cobalt.
Okay. A little confused, but okay.
And then he'll walk over and set him on Maka's back.
Oh, this works very well.
No. I'm not your beast of burden. Please get off my back.
You're not going alone, and this is the best way for someone to keep up with you.
They would be able to run alongside me.
I am faster than many think I am.
Here, actually, give me just a moment. If you would, please, young one, if you would step off my back.
No, get down.
The wolf bends down and pinches a little bit of dirt from below and sprinkles it upon the kobold's feet, whilst imagining the weaving and twisting magics that would allow for him to cast Long Strider on Cobalt.
God, hyper cobalt.
Speaking of, after Cobalt slides down, Kaiser just sort of lets out a sort of disappointed, damn.
There. Now you can run with the speed of the wolf. Come, let's go. And he takes off running full speed.
Cobalt goes at full speed behind him.
And Cobalt manages to overtake at full speed, moving 50 feet around versus the 40 feet of the wolf.
You see the surprised-looking wolf like, oh.
He'll sort of turn his head and be like, I said I was fast.
You weren't kidding, you little one. I thought your shorter legs would keep you from running so fast. And actually, Maka's the one having trouble keeping up, but he's running. He's like, but you must follow me because I'm the one that knows the way.
Slow down enough that he's running next to him, but so he's not running at full speed then.
Okay.
And be mindful of the guards' torches.
All right. Let's go ahead and jump into a little bit of potential action, shall we? Let's make sure I hit this here.
It's almost like they should have paid attention to what he was saying.
Dream says back at the camp with Amelia and Kaiser still there.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Maka, go ahead and make for me a survival check with advantage because this is a place you are very familiar with. And I believe you get advantage because it's forest anyway. Okay, and your survival check with the dice for advantage puts you at a 19, if I remember. Maka?
Yes. 19.
Okay.
I'm sorry, my fingers are frozen.
It is cold, so it's understandable. All right, 19 survival. Relatively without any issue, you are able to go ahead and breeze through. You know these pathways. You've traveled these pathways over the last year, gathering different things for Amelia as you needed to, and moving through, weaving past all of the trees and the bushes, knowing where certain dens of different animals might be to help avoid them as well, so you don't run into any issues there. Navigating, you come closer and closer to the wall surrounding the town, and what you end up seeing on the outside are two torches in the distance towards the front, where the town's main entrance is. But notably, all you see are two.
Quick, hanger right. You can easily just go over the farm fields and avoid them.
Okay, make a stealth check for me. You are under the cover of night, you're aware of their presence, advantage on stealth. I need both of you to make that stealth check for me.
$21.
23.
Very nice. Both of you are able to successfully keep yourselves low, hidden enough in the shadows, and weave around so the guards don't notice you. In fact, at a quick glance, you are able to see that they seem rather nonchalant, I guess would be a good word. You've been able to tell, especially Maka, when someone's on high alert. These guards seem rather relaxed. But you move past nonetheless, and you now have the ability to continue along the wall, and you see no further torchlight in front of you, and it is a clear shot to Amelia's front door, probably about 120 feet away from you.
Keep your eyes open, just in case there's anyone waiting.
Okay.
Approaching Amelia's hut, go ahead and, since you're keeping your eyes open, both of you make a perception check for me.
21.
Okay.
18.
Okay. Both of you are very confident that you are alone. There seems to be no presence of people whatsoever out here. You are, in fact, alone.
Very well. Looks like Amelia's place is rather abandoned. Which is good. Retrieving her things should be easy. When she tells us what she wants. I just remembered she didn't tell me if there was anything she wanted.
Should we go back, or do you want to go in and just see if there's something that you think she needs?
No, she told me to not try the door. So I think it would be better for us to just make our way back.
Okie dokie.
Okay. Making your way back, you are able to go ahead and pretty easily bypass the guards. You can see the two of them standing at the front gates there. Go ahead and, with a hearing, because it is quiet out there, as you're passing by, and the stealth roll I'm going to keep on this one because they're also not paying much attention. With your hearing, make a perception check, both of you. Maka, this does mean you get advantage because it's keen hearing.
Uh, 17 after advantage.
Okay.
Well.
Okay. With a 17, Maka, you were able to overhear the guards chatting amongst themselves, a couple words here and there. What you can pretty much gather from the couple words that you hear, something along the lines they're talking about old prison, bloodbath, demons, bandits. Those are the couple words that you can make out from the distance.
Okay, I'm making a mental note.
Okay. Continuing back to the camp, you arrive without issue. Your compatriots are there with you now, resting, awaiting, no issue, just trying to get a little bit of a rest. In the meantime, Kaiser and Dream, the two of you are there with Amelia. Is there any kind of conversation the two of you would like to have while the other two are out?
Kaiser he looks over at Amelia and he's going to ask, so if the village doesn't turn out to be good, what I was more trying to ask earlier is there anywhere not in the village that you can go if things go south?
Oh, I'm afraid I don't know of any place specifically. I've spent nearly my entire life here in Dialt. There are some local towns I've heard of, but I haven't visited them.
because I came to realize earlier something that has me spooked. As I mentioned, that someone was obviously funding and investing time into that prison. We rocked that boat. It gives me reason to worry about the village as a whole at this point.
It is certainly curious. I have not been able to really get that thought out of my head either.
I think we probably should have sent more of us with them.
Oh? Worried about them?
It sounds like you are.
I am, though I know Maka is very capable. He's still learning, coming to terms with his knowledge and the ability to, well, think like he does. But he's smart. Good sense, common sense in that wolven brain of his. I have faith that he'll keep the both of them safe, and out of sight especially.
I don't think we should discount Cobalt either. They seem very capable in their own right. I've seen the damage that they've done to the metal lock.
Yes, it is quite the impressive feat. But to be fair, I've only just met Cobalt. I've known Maka for a year now.
You say he's young and learning. How old is Maka?
Oh, I don't think I ever really cared too much to ask about age, but maybe once or twice. It didn't really seem to strike me as important. He certainly never asked my age. Smart one, that. Never ask a lady her age, I say.
Oh, great. Now I'm curious.
Dream, there's some things that are better left to the curious.
Anything else the two of you would like to talk about? Maybe amongst yourselves, or another question for Amelia? Otherwise, we'll go ahead and move to them rejoining you.
Yeah, at the end of that conversation, Kaiser just sort of leans back against his tree and just goes back to pondering things.
Very good.
Well, we've returned.
Welcome back. Glad to see you made it back in one piece.
Didn't run into any trouble while you were out there?
Not a bit. Actually, the guards seem aloof.
Distracted.
Distracted, yes. I overheard two of them talking on the run back. Did you hear them, Cobalt?
Kind of, but I really wasn't listening to their conversation. I was making sure they didn't see us.
They were talking about the old prison. Said there were a bloodbath and bandits.
I think one said demon, too.
Ah, yes. One did say demon. What?
Bandits?
That's curious. I know the orc fellow that was with us in the prison claimed to be a bandit, but he was the only one.
The orc fellow. Orcs are the ones that you said had tusks.
Yes.
Reminds me of one. I think I slew one back in those slatted walls.
You did. You bit his arm off.
And honestly, nothing of value was lost.
Out of character. Ouch.
You didn't even get his name.
Best not speak ill of the dead, honestly.
Amelia, your house was empty. There was no one patrolling it. No one even seemed to care.
Really? That is very curious.
We could have gone in,
Oh.
but we didn't know what you wanted.
That's fair. I didn't mention some simple herbs and things of that nature, some potions that I have stored away for different purposes, blankets, that kind of thing if I need to leave. But considering there's no one there and it's been a couple hours already, this poses an even bigger question. To me, at least.
One question that came across my mind: how long had you been in prison?
I was actually only there for maybe but a day before Cobalt arrived. You were there longer than I was.
Sorry, time kind of flies, and when you're just looking at the same three walls.
Understandably.
But that being said, that did give them enough time to ransack your house for alleged witchy goods. Are we sure that you even have supplies there to take?
Unfortunately, we're not. Only real way to know, I guess, is to see for ourselves at this point. But before we get into anything like that, these old bones are weary. Perhaps it would be best to sit and rest for a little bit.
As you wish.
Don't worry, I will watch over you.
Thank you, Maka. Okay. So the four of you are back together with Amelia now at your small little camp. No fire, but you've had your food. You've had the little venture out to do a little bit of scouting, and you are all now able to officially get that long rest we mentioned before. No issue when it comes to that.
Woo! Well, we'll offer the blanket from his bedroll to Amelia, even though it's probably not really going to cover her that much.
Oh, you are too kind. Thank you. I will do the best I can. Okay. Several hours go by. You can grab a bit of a rest if you would like to do watches through your rest period. Please let me know now. Otherwise, all of you will be resting at the same time.
I feel watches would be prudent.
Prudent.
Yeah, would be a good idea, just to be safe.
Cobalt will stick his hand up. I could do first watch. I'm not tired.
I'll do second then. I can fare better than most with shorter bouts of rest.
I'll take third then.
I can either do dawn or dusk.
think it's going to be dawn for you.
Very well. And Maka lays closer to Amelia.
Very well. For the purposes of this, what I'm going to say, because of party size and what we have available, and because I want you guys to roleplay, you will, during a long rest, take 2 watches. So I would like to have 2 people on watch for each of those watches. So for the first, we'll have Cobalt, and who would like to join him? Who said they were going to go second?
I did.
Okay, so we'll do Cobalt and Dream for the first one, and then for the second watch, we'll have Kaiser and Maka. Sound good?
Okay.
Okay. So for the first watch, I would like both of you to go ahead and make a perception check. It is dark. You have no fire. Please do so at disadvantage.
I believe that I actually have dark vision as Tabaxi. Would you like me to make that as disadvantage?
Out to 60 feet, you would.
Okay.
And the low light from the moon will be good. So if it's anything within 60 feet, I will change the DC for you specifically. But beyond that...
I have dark vision as well.
Okay, then it'll be the same DC if it's within 60, and anything further than that, it's still... You know what? Yeah, both of you with dark vision, straight roll. I'll just work it like that. Well then. So I see the perception roll, and Bengali, we're going to do something with your dice in the break to fix that up, so we can all see the dice. But I see Bengali rolled a 14 for perception, correct?
Affirmative.
Okay. And Cobalt, natural 1.
Yeah.
What
Cobalt
would
is
you
looking
say?
at the plants, not looking out for stuff.
So with a 14, Dream, you're able to keep a general eye out. You have a little bit of like perking of your ears to try to hear anything going on, and periodically you do hear a little rustling of leaves, but it seems small enough and you don't see anything that you gather it might have been some kind of local wildlife, some small creature stirring. But for the most part, other than that, it is completely still. You have no kind of issue during your watch. So during your watch, feel free to make conversation. Ask questions. Talk with one another.
Dream will occupy a low-hanging branch. Since I have a climb speed, I should be able to get up there with no problem unless these trees are weird.
Nope. Trees are pretty standard. You're good.
And he's just kind of laying back with his back against the base of the tree. Just kind of... Or... Got a leg hanging down. He's doing this rather nonchalantly as he's glancing around the forest.
Sticking his leggy out real far.
Mm-hmm.
Cobalt is sort of pacing back and forth around wherever the others are sort of resting. And probably also due to his height, he's not seeing much over the tall grass anyway.
That's fair.
You seem rather tense, Cobalt. Is everything all right?
It's all new places to me.
You did bring up something about a monastery, didn't you?
Yes. I'm from the Mountain Flower Temple of Rindesh. That's where I've lived all my life.
And is that where you learned how to do that thing with your fists? The punching thing.
Yes, I learned how to fight there. But also, in the Temple of Rindesh and from my master, I'm learning how to be a dragon.
That one can simply be a dragon in this world is fascinating. You fascinate me, Cobalt.
I thank you. If I must say, you fascinate me too. I've never seen someone like you before. Not at the temple, at least. Not being mean or anything in what I'm saying.
No, I get it. And I suppose that would make sense comparatively. Our species is still quite young. Though I guess specifically my tribe comes from a little bit further east of Rendesh, I believe.
So Rindesh is also known as one of the continents.
Oh.
That's fine. It's a completely separate continent. You're on the continent of Windis. You would come from a little bit more east from, well, southeast, really, from Dornell. So you're on the eastern side of Windis, specifically, which is kind of southeast of Dornell.
Which I believe the temple was a lot further north than that.
Relatively close, but
I remember.
in a general area. But the temple is a lot more hidden, so.
And up high in the mountains.
And actually, the temple, I think, is a little bit more further south.
Oh.
Yeah, if memory is serving correctly, your temple is further south from where Dream came from.
Okay. Yeah, I don't remember seeing the map, so. Yeah.
Either way, geography's never really been my strong point.
Yeah, I'm noticing that that's not exactly something that I'm good at either. It's gonna make my task a lot more difficult. Our temple got. I suppose that some visitors aren't always as good as they should be. And we were robbed. And they took things from the temple that should never be taken out of the temple. And that's what I'm doing. I'm going to go find them. I'm going to bring all the artifacts back.
A noble endeavor if ever I heard one.
But I don't know which way they went.
Well, with that, we'll go ahead and we'll say that your watch will have ended. Uneventful, as I mentioned before. And you're able to go ahead and stir the other two from their rest to go ahead and take over watch. And get some rest yourselves. You've earned it. Second watch, Kaiser and Maka. Go ahead and roll perception checks for me. Kaiser, do you have dark vision? I believe the answer is no.
I do not.
Okay. Maka, you are rolling advantage because of hearing and smell. That tends to be how you perceive things anyway.
So I'm just doing a straight roll.
Straight roll.
Yeah, that's an 18.
And that is a 16.
Okay, 18 and 16. Not bad. Not bad, fellas. Go ahead and have conversation as you see fit during your watch. If anything happens, I will let you know.
The first question I have is how, obviously, you know, we're in a tree line, but how visible, if at all, would the moon be from where we're at?
The moon at this point, because you're really close to the little bit of a river, the brook, if you will, that's going through, it is fairly easily visible. Upward, you can see the skyline. Outward, you're pretty still well secluded.
Kaiser will sort of take up a spot where he can sort of just watch the moon as he sort of listens out for things. So, Maka, I've been curious since a conversation I had with Amelia earlier.
Maka simply perks an ear.
She said that she's only known you about a year, but you seem pretty attached to her.
Amelia is the second human that has ever treated me well. Third, well, if you count the children. I would protect the children and Amelia with my life. They were the ones that showed me that there can be redemption to humans. I've only met 2 adult humans that have been charitable to me. Charitable.
So, if you don't mind me asking, then what led up to you meeting Amelia then? Because you said she's the second one that's treated you kindly.
Yes, the first one is the one that unlocked my mind, as you may say. Broke me free from a prison of my own that I did nothing to deserve, but put me in this state. And this state, I mean becoming, as you humans put it, dire. But I suppose that one saw something better suited in all 3 of us, and all 3 of us meaning the pack that I once had. I made my way here after years of living in the woods, and I was beckoned to learn more about humans from... Sometimes I wonder if it was a dream. That doesn't matter. All that matters is that I'm here now. And I would like to say that I can give humans a second chance.
The one thing about people is they can be the kindest people you've ever met, but there are others that, like you said, are just the cruelest bunch you'll ever come across.
The one thing that strikes me about humans is their sheer tenacity. They seem absolutely beset to a goal once they have their minds made. Speaking of which, what has made yours?
What has made my what exactly?
Well, what has made your mind? What are you after?
That's my goals. There are two. The first is I mostly just, as one would think of, the profession I have chosen to help the ill, the sick, and the downtrodden as best I can to prevent people from suffering from losses similar to what I've been through in my own life. The second is there has been more and more dire creatures appearing over time. And I'm investigating the cause of that. I have something of a, and this is no offense to you, Maka, but similar to how humans have treated you poorly, I've got a bit of a grudge against dire creatures.
Maka stands up straighter.
And that's why you've been fascinating to me, because most dire creatures, they're just animals, beasts. They kill, destroy, maim, and eat without regard to anything. But you're smart, calculating. Not like other dyers.
Well, that's because I was given a human mind. The magics that were willed into me unlocked that ability to tap into the magics as I was told. But not all dire animals are hungry beasts without minds, even if they weren't like me. They're just animals. They're just creatures like me. They have habits, they have things that they are accustomed to. They only wish to live their daily lives as they used to, as natural creatures do, whether they are bigger or smaller. And I say that from experience. My becoming dire was not of my making, or my choice. And even so, what makes you that much different from any other creature? That is my question. I mean, if I must be forthright, I've never seen a person, a human, like you. And I have been fed many, but I've never had one with your features. Dark skinned, sure. Even blue. By color. But not like you. Or any of the other ones here for that matter, with exception for Amelia. But a feline human? I don't even know what to call you. Or Cobalt for that matter. But I just know that I've never seen your like before as much as you haven't seen mine. So it is because of that curiosity that I haven't exactly immediately decided to completely I struggle with words still. I am still learning words to this day. I apologize, but I haven't completely forsaken any friendship kinship that we may have?
If it helps, Cobalt is of a race known as the Kobold.
Kobold.
Yes.
Cobalt. Kobold.
Yes. And my people, there are others like me. And we are what is known as a Dragonborn.
Dragonborn. What
Yes.
exactly is a dragon?
Well,
As Kaiser struggles to find the words.
I was actually about to ask you on this. Obviously, Dragonborn being one thing, but what, if anything, would Kaiser's general knowledge of actual dragons be, do you think?
For the most part, you know that there was some kind of lineage and connection to dragons in your past, talking ancestral past, but you have not heard of dragons being around for the commonplace, at least, for thousands of years. They have cropped up in a couple different stories, and some situations showed them to be present, but it's very rare. In fact, the biggest situation when it came to dragons, for the most part, didn't involve multiple dragons, but involved a cult that worshipped dragons, probably somewhere in the range of about 500 years ago. But they were shut down before they could accomplish their goals by a ragtag group of adventurers.
But beyond that, I don't really have much knowledge of like dragons as a creature outside they were just large winged beasts.
For what knowledge you have access to, no. That's about it. You just know that they are rare, haven't heard of anything more than a single one showing up in stories and folktales, and the only thing in relative history books that would have been talked about was about 500 years ago as the most recent situation involving dragons.
I wish I could give you more information about dragons, but anything about them is scarce at best, with the only mention that I can think of dating back to 500 years, but who knows if that's even a true story.
And with that, the sun begins to rise
It is
over
time.
the horizon, and the day begins to start for the town and the surrounding area and all of the nature that you have around it of Dialt, its people, and the creatures that inhabit the world around it.
As your blue begins to rise with the coming of the sun, Maka will turn to Kaiser. It is my normal time to hunt. Can I trust you to look after the group?
Of course, I won't let anything happen.
Perfect. Thank you. I will be back as soon as I find something suitable for eating.
And I will let the others know that you're out hunting.
Maka steps away to go ahead and hunt and gather what he can for food. As the others are able to wake up fully rested, and everyone gets a long rest.
Huzzah!
And if it wasn't apparent, during the second watch, nothing of note happened. You were all good.
I was about to say, all of a sudden we turn to go wake everyone up and everyone's gone.
Right?
Just kidnapped
Guys.
right under our noses.
No, it's all good. So the morning is yours. You're able to go ahead and discuss, come up with a plan, see what you would like to do while Maka is out and about, or you can wait for him to return.
It'd probably be better to wait for him to return just to have everyone involved so we all know what we're doing.
Agreed.
Should I roll a survival check for hunting, or
Yeah, go ahead. Because this is the equivalent of getting a ration for you.
that's a 10?
10 was the DC. You know the area, so you're good. A successful hunt. You managed to take down, well, not a deer, which would be
I was going
sizable
after
for you.
rabbits or, something smaller.
Yep, you were able to manage to find 3 rabbits. One of them managed to get away, but you were able to take down 3, and that's enough to sate you for the day at the very least.
I would take 2 for myself, and then the third one I will bring back.
Okay. So Mako will return back to the camp. A rabbit, freshly hunted, hanging from his jaws.
I will drop the rabbit into the camp, and then I will immediately trot off to wash my muzzle so that I don't have the blood from the other 2 still all over me.
Mm-hmm.
Cobalt will help you wash up your muzzle.
Please, Cobalt, it is correct.
Yes.
I do not want to accidentally bite your hands.
But it's good to help out friends, isn't it?
It is. I will not fault you for that, but accidents can happen, and I am quite large in comparison to you, and I do not wish to harm you by accident. Like, in the middle of that, like, Maka will allow Cobalt to, like, wash the top of the muzzle, but, like, not around the jowls or below the jaw.
Cobalt will actually sort of just pet him, be like, it's okay. Friends don't hurt friends.
That is... Yes, you are correct. We shall go rejoin the others, and hopefully they have made use of the rabbit I've brought.
All right.
And as they're coming back, Kaiser's holding the rabbit up by the ears, holding it towards Dream. Do you know how to go about doing anything with this?
Let's see, what skill would govern cooking?
Standard survival. Especially when it comes to preparing a game like this.
It couldn't be too hard. It's just meat, right?
You have to, like, skin it or something and take out its guts, or...
Oh, I'm sure.
Would you like to try your hand at preparing the rabbit?
I'll try.
Okay.
Kaiser, I'll hand it
I
off
will
to him, then.
say- Yeah, I will say go ahead and make a survival check, but with dexterity. as the modifier. So do you have proficiency in survival?
I do not.
Okay, so just make a regular dexterity check for me. So D20, add your dex mod.
Whoa.
So that's a 7. Uh, it's not the easiest. You're able to skin it. It takes you a little bit. This is not something you're accustomed to. And you manage to remove the skin. It's not the cleanest. You do lose a bit of the rabbit in the process of cleaning it overall, but you are left with enough to have a meal between the three of you. It's a smaller meal, but you're able to split a meal for 3 or 4, but it'd be a lot smaller for each of you. It'd be more like a lunch rather than a full meal kind of idea.
Okay.
Now comes the other question. How are you going to cook it?
That is not my problem. I'm going to pass that problem on to someone else.
Oh, don't make me do it.
I can give it a try.
What would you like to try?
Guys are thinking on it.
Amelia will speak up. It's well prepared to be cooked, but still needs a hit of fire to be able to cook. Do we, now that the sun has risen, want to create a fire of some sort?
It's probably safer now, I think.
Now that we've pretty much established that they're not really gunning for us as much as we thought they were.
Okay. Who would like to make a fire then?
Cobalt will gather up a couple of sticks, drop it on the ground, and using his flint and steel, spark a fire.
Smart kobold. Very easily. The supplies are plentiful around you for this kind of a thing, and you've got the necessary tool. You're able to create a fire. And with the meat already prepared and the survival roll that we had there for how to prepare it, for how much you could get out of it, cooking it is a very simple task. You're not doing anything fancy, unless you would like to. I assumed it's just a
starting
let's
the
heat
fire.
it till it's edible.
He's just starting the fire. He doesn't know how to cook.
Yeah, it's definitely not unfancy. He's just putting the meat in the fire until he thinks it's done.
Sounds good. So, doing that, you're able to go ahead and cook it up. Everyone gets a free meal that'll be able to get you through. There will need to be another meal later on in the day because this was a smaller portion, but it's enough to get you going for quite a bit of the day. Let's see. Passive perception. Who has a passive perception of 13 or higher?
Okay.
I do.
I do.
I have.
Okay.
Yeah,
Jim
I do
does.
too.
So from
So
the sounds of it,
everyone's-
all of us.
All of you, good. All of you then are able to hear over towards where Maka and Cobalt saw the two guards earlier in the morning. You're able to hear what sounds to be the familiar sounds to most of you of wooden wheels churning. the most part, it sounds like they are heading over towards the town.
Okay.
Also, in the distance towards the town, you hear the starting of barking going out. And by barking, I mean people shouting out and calling out for their wares and things of that nature. And it seems as if the day in Dialt has begun. So, with the night over, the danger immediately having passed, the day is now yours moving forward. And we will go ahead and take this opportunity to take our break. We're going to go ahead and take 10 minutes out to go ahead and get ourselves stretched, moved about, taking care of little animals that we have that have been poking, saying, I want to go outside. And
That sounded rather specific.
yeah, our little corgi, our little yamper is trying to get attention to go outside. So we are going to take that small break to go ahead and get those couple things done. A stretch break, 10 minutes. Don't go anywhere, guys. Make sure to go ahead and get some hydrate yourselves, as I'm seeing that pop in chat there. We'll be back in just a couple minutes. So, after a night of getting to know each other a little bit better, understanding who your traveling companions are, even though travel is still minimal at this current point in time, you awake, have a small meal together, and have enough energy to get the day started. While you cannot see it because you are still appropriately surrounded by the tree line, some of you were able, in fact all of you actually, were able to hear closer to where the front of the village is, the entrance, the sound of wooden wagon wheels, as far as you can gather, creaking and squeaking and rolling up towards the front gate. That is then accompanied by that's accompanied by several people in the town starting their day. The raucous nature of a town itself becoming more apparent as the day begins and the sun is now starting its procession through the sky. With that and these noises happening, what would you like to do?
So, with what Maka was telling us from his excursion last night, do we think it's safe enough to approach Amelia's house at this point?
Amelia, what do you think? Would you like to try?
I wouldn't want to put any of you in danger based on my decision. I am unsure. Based on what you told me, it seems odd that nothing seems to be amiss at all. But it could be that I'm just a little paranoid after the events of what happened. Or it could be nothing. I don't want to put any of you in danger for my sake. I'll let you make the decision.
I don't feel that a day is really long enough to warrant the consideration that a trap might have been set up. If that is what you're thinking.
It is possible. It had crossed my mind. But you are right as well. It is very quick for anything like that to have potentially happened. I am being protected and escorted by the four of you. I will defer to your judgment.
Well, as Rindesh says, you can't count your eggs until they cross the road.
Who translated that book?
I was about to say, on Kaiser's face, you just see visible confusion as his brain is trying to work that one.
Never in my life have I witnessed an egg walking.
That's because eggs don't typically walk.
So, you are presented with a couple different options, the group here. You can make your way back as you did in the evening prior over to Amelia's home. You do pass by the front gate as you do that, or you can do something else entirely. You have the woods behind you, you have the path that you came from, you have the great wild world out in front of you as well if you decide to forego all of it. The
What
decision
is
yours.
the approximate time of, like, how high is the sun now?
It is just risen.
Okay, so we're still at early dawn.
Early dawn.
I think that we should go to Amelia's place. It'll be the most familiar to her.
If we do go to Amelia's place, we cannot linger here any longer. The more bright it is in the sky, the easier we will be seen.
Not just that, but the longer we linger, the more chance that we have of something actually being set up for us.
Sounds like we're all in agreement then. So, setting off
Sounds like
towards
we're all in
Amelia's
agreement
abode?
Yeah, it's our best course of action right now, it feels like. Though I would advise high caution, even still.
Then give me a moment. I've got something prepared just for this. And Dream kind of crosses his arms with his palms facing outward, and he just kind of brushes them in front of him as he casts Pass Without Trace.
Okay.
For those of you unfamiliar, Pass Without Trace has, I believe, a 20-foot radius, but gives us all plus 10 to our stealth.
So long as everyone remains within range of you while you're maintaining that spell, plus 10 to stealth.
Yeah, if you stay in the middle of everybody, we're good.
Yep. Okay. Preparations made. The 5 of you set out towards the front gate to bypass it and head beyond to the opposite side towards Amelia's home. As you begin to approach the area, from the distance, as the trees begin to open, you can see that there are 2 wagons moving into town at this point here, covered, standard fare, single driver, pulled by horse, single on each of them, and they are stopping with the guards. The 2 that are standing at the front of the gate here, different, you can tell, from the ones that were there last night. And the guards are jovial, they're laughing, they're having a good conversation with the people that are sitting atop of these carriages as they are wheeling in. And without too much hesitation, they begin to motion for them to go ahead and usher them into the town through the wall. You take this opportunity to try and sneak your way around. I would like a stealth check from everybody, including Amelia, with a plus 10.
That did not add my plus 10 to that roll, so I have a 31.
Yeah, 31 for me too.
15 for Kaiser.
Okay. Oh, yes, because of the disadvantage.
Yep.
Because you're wearing heavy armor.
Well, I'm sorry, that's 30.
Yeah, just a 30. Okay. Okay. The guards seem to be too distracted, paying attention to everything that's going on with these two caravans being ushered in, and they seemingly pay you no heed, unnoticed. You're able to pass behind the second carriage as it's wheeling its way towards the front of the gate, the guards paying attention to the driver, and you are within close enough proximity that you can hear the basic conversation going on between the person on the carriage and the guards themselves. The conversation is a lot of just space-filling talk, conversation. The driver appears to be a merchant based on the conversation, coming back to pick up a shipment of different carved wooden trinkets and whatnot to bring back towards Doranil. And the guards themselves are happy to welcome him back in and give a warning about rumors of demons out in the woods nearby. But he seems to, based on how the inflection is, brush it off as if it's not real. You essentially hear him say, it's rumors, but they say there's demons out in the woods recently. Just stay in the walls for your own protection, as we would say to anybody. But if you see something, you let us know. And the merchant acquiesces, nods, gives a little bit of a chuckle, and continues his way in as you five have managed to circumvent this situation and go unseen.
Is there any strange smells or anything coming from that carriage, since we're close enough to it?
Perception check with your smell. So that's advantage.
That's a 20 total.
For you, you get the smell of the local forests, but some of these smells are stronger. You get the hint of the trees that you've seen and experienced, but it's almost like when you claw at a tree and you scrape away some of the bark, it smells of that very strongly from inside of the carriage, but not strong enough that it seems it's still present. You gather that the items that would have smelled of this kind of woody, earthen smell have been removed a bit ago, and this is merely the remnants of that odor inside of the cart. That's what you get.
Smells like sap.
Continuing on to the other side, Amelia's home is directly ahead of you, unobstructed, 120 feet in the distance once again. In the immediate vicinity as well, based on what you have for passive visions, you do not see anything out of the ordinary. Seems all quiet.
Okay.
What would you like to do?
Suppose we will just proceed to Amelia's house from here.
That sounds logical to me.
Okay.
Even though we're trying to stealth and be sneaky about it, Kaiser, as we're going, is sort of like looking around, watching, seeing if there's like anybody that could possibly be eyeballing them.
Go ahead and roll a perception check for me.
A total of 11.
Okay. with that 11 and with the active perception, you are able to notice that there is something stirring behind the outside flower beds, if you will, around the side of Amelia's home. There's a little bit of a flower bed on each side, and on the left side, as you're coming towards the house, there seems to be some kind of a disturbance. Something is moving and knocking around some of the branches of the planted flowers and herbs that are there, as well as the bushes that line the back of it.
The moment that Kaiser notices, I'm just gonna sort of lowly, "Psst, hey, everyone." And Kaiser's just gonna silently point to where he notices and sees the disturbance. Over there.
So I'll look.
You're all able to notice the disturbance going on for sure, but what's causing the disturbance seems to be blocked by the planters. You're unable to see it. You just know there's something there.
I'm gonna kind of whisper, go. I don't see anything.
I don't know. I don't like it. Should we try to surround it, maybe? Send a couple around to come up behind it while the rest of us bring up the front?
My spell only goes so far. Anyone going out there would either be without the protection of my spell, or the people here would be without the protection of my spell.
Because if we approach it and we spook it, they could try to run.
Speaking of, we have my Pass Without Trace. Am I able to just look over the planters or peek through?
It's still slightly at a distance. With the slight approach, you're probably about 90 to 80 feet still from the front of the house. So whatever this is about 90 feet ahead of you. That angle, it's really not conducive for you to see what's behind it just yet.
Well, it's entirely possible we can just sneak up on it. We've made it this far.
So you were saying like this is the bushes on top of the house or beside the house?
Beside the house, behind the planters that you're used to having out in the front kind of idea, where she helps regrow some of the things that she normally uses. Obviously, there are some things that are not suited for regrowth inside of the planters, but what she can do, she does there. These are just some bushes behind it, as well as a couple of the things that are close enough and getting knocked around by the branches of these bushes.
Cobalt. How nimble are you?
Pretty nimble. Why?
Do you think you can get on top of the house without going through the planters?
Okay.
To further describe for you, the house is single story, slightly raised off of the ground, only by about a foot, and is kind of a dome almost. It still comes to a point, but it's not a very tall, steepled roof there.
like if you went around to the opposite side of the house from the planters and just hopped up on the roof and looked down, perhaps they wouldn't see you, whatever it is.
Okay, no problem.
Would you like me to
How
give you the
tall-
extra speed again?
How? That's not necessary. I don't need that. How tall is the house, though?
I want to say from base to roof, we're looking at probably about 9 to 10 feet.
Oh, okay, no problem then. He'll look around. Does it look like anybody's like noticing him in the area? Noticing where we are?
Give me a perception check.
$17.
Okay. With a 17, taking a look around, you are able to see that no one else is really in the area. Looking around, the coast does in fact seem clear. And you are noticing that the shifting of the branches continues, but it's not steady. It stops every once in a while, shifts around a tiny bit again, and then seems to settle.
So there's something in the tree. It's not moving with the wind.
The bushes, yes,
Yeah.
down on the ground level. But outside of that, coast seems clear.
Okay. So he's like, yeah, I can get on the roof. Just be careful of whatever's in the bushes.
That's what I want you to spy on, is what's in the bushes from above.
I'm gonna spend a key point and do his step of the wind. And his jump distance is doubled for the turn.
Okay.
So he is going to get sort of a little bit of a running start and just leap up on top of the house.
Okay. Make a athletics check for me for pushing yourself off of the ground. The strength of your legs to launch yourself up.
Okay. Athletics or acrobatics? Athletics.
Athletics unless you're using the wall of the building to kind of like run up the wall of the building.
would.
If you're doing just a pure jump.
No, he would do it sort of. He would definitely do it dex based.
So yeah, running up the side of the wall best you can there, to get a climb essentially without a jump necessary. Yeah, we'll do the acrobatics then.
22 then.
Perfectly. No issues whatsoever. You manage to find the little bit of footholds that you need to jump up and get to the top of the building. The area around is now available for you to see. You are also able to take a look down, should you choose to.
22.
Okay. What you see below you is... how else to put this? There is a small person in the bushes, trying their best to hide and peek around the corner. You can tell this is a young girl.
Which way is she looking?
Towards the group.
Towards our group.
Yes.
I have a guess. So he's gonna sort of lean over the edge of the roof a little bit, trying to not really be seen that hard.
Mhm.
But he's gonna sort of just whisper down toward her, sort of like, "Psst, are you looking for Amelia Maka?"
As you whisper that, she is caught off guard, yelps, and falls out the side from behind the planter onto her behind in shock. Now she is in plain sight for everyone to see. This is a young girl, maybe 9 to 10 years old. Long brown hair cascading over her shoulders, and standard common wear, but attempted to fancy it up ever so slightly. Not too much. This person is 100% familiar to you, Maka.
Amelia, look.
Oh, that child.
She could not wait for me to get back to give her word.
It seems she couldn't.
I'm guessing you two are familiar with this kid then?
Yes, that is actually the one who introduced me to Amelia. Her name is Emily. She's one of the many children of the farmlands here.
Oh, right. Yeah, I remember you mentioning her name the other night.
The girl, Emily, stands up, brushes herself off, and looks around trying to find where the voice came from before shaking her head, giggling a little bit, and running over towards the group of you. She's got a big, beaming smile on her face, and a tear running down the side of her face.
Oh. Wait, I still have my spell on. She could see us?
I mean, at this point, you weren't actively stealthing.
I suppose that's fair.
I sure as hell wasn't.
Yeah, getting around, you started to focus more on perception rather than staying full stealthy. And that's fine, because, you're also, like, kind of inching towards the front of the house. There's not a whole lot blocking, so it's kind of tougher to stealth in that kind of a situation anyway. But she runs up and immediately goes over to Maka and throws her arms around the wolf's neck, giving him a big old hug.
Emily, it's good to see you. I fulfilled my promise.
I see. Maka, thank you so much. You brought her back. Oh, Amelia, are you okay? I got so worried. They took you away, and I didn't know what to do. And I went and I told Mama and Papa, and they said that things were okay. That it was ridiculous, and they were going to see what they could do, and then they said they had no idea what was going on. I was so worried, and but you're back. You did it. It's a good boy. Thank you, Maka. He's such a good boy. And she starts to scritch behind her ears a little bit.
Maka uncontrollably wags a little bit.
Note to self.
Emily steps forward and rests a hand on top of... Amelia steps forward and rests a hand on top of Emily's head. Now, child, I told you to go and wait. You putting yourself in unnecessary danger. You didn't know what was going on. What are you doing out this early? She looks up and says, I was doing my part. I had to get you back. I couldn't just let them take you and do nothing. It wasn't fair. They were mean and did everything they could to just take all of your things with the potions, and it wasn't right.
I was afraid of that.
Like Amelia looks down at her and says, "Well, thank you. You're brave and noble. Wish more people were like you. You grow up strong one day." The little girl lets out a little bit of a giggle and steps to the side there. She says, "I've been keeping watch over the house, and I only fell asleep for a little bit, but nobody's come here. It's been quiet. It's been no one's been here, and I was looking, hoping you would come back, and now you're here, and this is what I was waiting for. So welcome home."
So, should I come down now?
Oh, yes. Cobalt!
You're free to come down now, Cobalt.
He'll hop down.
She turns, the little girl, Emily, turns and sees you. "Oh, I'm taller than you." "How'd you get up on the roof? I can't even do that."
Jumped.
You can't jump that high. And she's like in disbelief, crossing her arms at this point, like, little. So Emily turns then to Amelia and Maka and says, "Well, Mama and Papa will want to know that you're okay. They said that they were going to go try to talk some sense into the guardsmen to get them to release you, and I know that they came home confused last night because I heard them over saying things like that the guards were completely incompetent and lost a prisoner and don't know about arrests or something. I don't know, but I'll tell Mama and Papa that you're safe and that everything is good, and then maybe we'll come over and we'll see you for dinner or something. Maybe, who knows? But I'm gonna go. I gotta go work and meet up with my friends. Thank you, Maka. Thank you. You're such a good boy." He gives a big hug again.
You're quite welcome, young one.
Validation never felt so good.
She does a little skip, heading back towards the main gate, and disappears out of your vision.
And once she's gone, Kaiser's just like, well, yeah, incompetence, one word to describe those guards.
Dead is another. Was that too soon?
In
I
this
can never
case,
tell.
Amelia, what do you make of this?
It's curious. From what I could gather her saying in that brief moment there, losing a prisoner? Arrest records? Emily's father is one of the guard. But having trouble with a record?
If I may, it sounds like my thought process was probably really close to being on the mark. I doubt that the arrest, or that your arrest, was less than legal.
It's very possible. Emily did say that she didn't see anybody entering into the home here. Of course, she might have missed them. A child is a child, after all.
And
if one of you would be able to oversee, if you notice anything, my eyes are not as good as they once were.
Now,
Perhaps there's something that stands out to one of you.
that was actually going to be my next question. How close to the house are we at this point? Have we moved any closer, or?
You could have walked up to the door if you would like to.
Yeah, Kaiser would.
Okay.
And
Kaiser, you are at the door.
when he gets,
Everybody else just behind you.
and with him there, he's going to cast Detect Magic.
Okay. Casting Detect Magic, you can pick up nothing.
Okay, well, there's nothing magically inclined here, at least. So no magic traps or anything from what I can tell.
Then shall we?
Should we go in?
Kaiser will reach down and check the door, see if they left it unlocked.
Door is locked. Amelia does step forward and say, well, I did get my keys back.
I was about to say that Kaiser will step back and present to let her come forward.
She nods, moves forward, pulls out a key, and unlocks the door, then steps back.
With the door unlocked, Kaiser will just look at the rest of his group before he reaches down again and slowly opens the door.
Okay. I assume by slowly opening the door, you're keeping yourself on edge to try to get out of the way of something?
Just in case, yeah.
Okay.
And he's sort of watching as well as the door opens more, looking for anything that could be in there.
Okay. So with that, I will say go ahead and make a dexterity saving throw.
Son of a bitch. Nine.
With a 9, as the door slowly opens, you hear the creaking of the door. And as it gets pretty much fully open, no sign of anything, until it taps against something on the floor. In a panic, you step back. Nothing seems to happen.
Yeah, as the moment that he steps back, he also flings his arm around with his shield in front of him and just peeks over it
I'm gonna walk up, sort of start to open the door and look around the corner of the door.
As you continue to open the door, you can hear the gentle scraping of something behind the door being pushed with the door.
I'm gonna get the door open enough that I can sort of get my head around to look down on the floor.
Oh, it's already open enough. It's practically 3/4 the way open.
Okay. What is it, a bottle?
Underneath the door frame, it is indeed a bottle.
You're afraid of bottles?
No, that's... I was afraid it was more than a bottle.
It's empty. It's not more.
At this point, Maka walks up to the door and just sniffs inside.
Sniffing inside, you would have no issue with this, especially with a 23 perception. Everything seems normal the way you left it. You are confident in that.
Dream just simply walks in, hands behind his head, just fingers folded.
And does so without issue. No issue whatsoever. Amelia lets out a sigh of relief. Well, seems the girl kept a good lookout after all. Now then, let's see what we have inside. She steps into her home.
This is a lovely
Inside.
home.
Well, thank you, dear. Inside, what you see is a relatively modest setup. Most things inside are set for function, rather than a whole lot of excess. There seems to be, going around the outside of this circular home, a bed set up alongside one of the sides, several smaller planters in the area, what appears to be several vials, bottles, distillers set up on shelves in the back, glass containers holding several different herbs and different liquids, and in the center, a small circular table with one chair.
Cozy.
Well, thank you. In fact, it's just as I left it. Quite surprising, and this honestly brings more questions than answers.
Yeah, because didn't the little one say they took your potions and stuff?
Ah, yes, but I think she was more referring to what got me into the situation in the first place. They had come that day asking for more potions, and one of them tried to barge his way into my home uninvited. That's when Maka stepped in and scared him off.
Walk into our home uninvited.
You certainly showed him.
And
Oh,
anyone
you're
else who comes
right.
in without so much as a hello.
So, the house seems to be untouched. Everything seems to be on the up and up inside of Amelia's home.
It still smells like all of the herbs and strange concoctions in here.
Yes.
I hope that you will delay going back to potion making right away and get some proper rest, Amelia.
I certainly will need it. Staying out on the cold ground, even for a night, does a number on the old bones, as they say. But things truly are curious. What are all of your thoughts on this? I am perplexed.
It honestly doesn't sit right with me.
So
Everything seems untouched. The guards said that they thought it was bandits in the prison
and demons in the woods.
and demons in the woods. The only demon that seems to prowl the woods that I know of is, well, you're looking at me.
Cobalt's gonna actually step up and pet Maka then and be like, "You're no demon, you wolf."
I appreciate you saying so, but to them, anything that doesn't walk on two legs is either just prey or is a demon.
It's unfortunately sad truths sometimes in that regard. But I know the difference.
Oh, I have a question though.
Mhm.
Emily said to the little girl, she said that there was no report of you being arrested.
Yes, Amelie mentioned that her father said something or another about a missing report, no record of prisoner, something along those lines. There's only one way to really find out.
I
And that
was
would be to talk to him.
because didn't she
Was it-
say her father was a guard?
Yes, I mentioned that. Her father is part of the guard for the town, yes.
Right. Okay.
Dream is going to sit in the chair and put his feet up on the table.
Oh, well, that's not where feet go, my dear. I eat on that table.
Take your legs down.
Now, Maka.
So, do you think there's a report of Cobalt being arrested for owing 2 copper to the inn?
I'm certainly not sure.
Dream shrugs and acquiesces.
Thank you, my dear. See, Maka, if you ask nicely, sometimes you can attract more flies with honey than vinegar.
And sometimes you can get crickets instead.
I suppose that's true.
You
She has a
did not
puzzled look on her
desire
face.
his feet upon your table.
You are correct, but Mr. Dream here has been very helpful and simply misunderstood or did not know. We give people a chance sometimes.
Fine. I apologize.
Very good. She gives you a little scratch behind the ear.
No offense taken, I assure you. And I apologize for for any slight I have caused.
It's quite all right, dear. Water under the bridge. So, conversation can continue for a moment here. Is there anything you four would like to do in the immediate?
Maka is going to do a full just sniff around every corner of this house, as dogs are wont to do, and then coming back in.
And I don't know if it would make a difference because I don't know the dimensions of the house, but I'm guessing going inside the house didn't ping anything off of detect magic either.
Correct. Once the door opened, nothing really resonates magically, with a small exception of getting minor hits of magic off of some of the herbs that are stored there.
Okie dokie.
Cobalt's gonna sort of investigate sort of the a lot more of the shinies in the room, like the plants in the glass bottles and stuff.
Sure. Standard fair plants that you would see in the area, some that you've never seen before, but seem very well preserved. Some of them are ground down and kept in more of a powder situation. You get the glint off of a mortar and pestle on one of the shelves there, and everything else seems pretty straightforward.
Maka finds a sprig of sage and takes a little bit of it over to Amelia and sort of drops it in her hand and says, "Would you mind burning this?"
Certainly, dear. Let me go ahead and do that. She takes the sage, sets up a little bit of a tray, and begins to burn a little bit and spreads the essence by holding the sprig around the house and just kind of spreads it before letting it sit on top of a small dish to let it slowly burn and continue to spread.
Then Maka goes over to beside the table, drops down to lie down and just gives that big canine sigh and just listens and watches to everybody else move around.
And as they're going about their business, Kaiser's actually going to walk over towards the herbs that he pinged a bit of the magic off of.
Mm-hmm.
And he'll look at Amelia and ask, "Would it be alright if I took a look at these.
Well, certainly. I have no issue with you taking a peek.
I dabble some in herbalism and potion making myself, and these are very curious.
Oh, very good. Yes, certainly. Feel free to take a look.
And he'll pick up one of the pouches and open it and just sort of look inside, see what sort of where she's got in there.
Sure. Taking a look because of your proficiency and your understanding of herbs and whatnot like this, these are herbs that are giving off that gentle magical resonance, and the reason behind it is because you are very familiar with the method of grinding different herbs into a powder that can then be dissolved in water to create magical healing potions.
Is the process to do this basic or kind of complex?
For the most part, it's basic, but you do need to have a bit of experience with it to understand when it's the appropriate amount. Too much grinding, you run out of the oils that are necessary to help keep the healing going. It loses its magical potential if you do too much grinding and the oils evaporate, and if you don't bring the oils out enough, it's not potent enough to make any kind of a difference. It's a very precise art.
Kaiser just looks down at it and goes, "This is pretty impressive. I've not seen too many people that can get this accurate."
Well, thank you. It takes a little bit of time, a little bit of practice, but once you've done it 5 times, you've done it 100 times, as they say, as long as you know what you're doing.
And very carefully, Kaiser will tie the back up properly and set it back in its spot.
Sure thing. It's at this time a noise comes from the door. I assume you closed it behind you, yes? Hello? Hello, Amelia? Are you in there?
Dream immediately glances towards Amelia to see her reaction.
Kaiser's hand goes to his mace. He doesn't draw it, but he keeps it there sort of cautiously.
Maka stays close to the floor and small, just like he used to.
Cobalt runs to the door but doesn't open it. He's looking back at Amelia. Like he was ready to either hold the door closed or open it.
With a smile on her face, she nods to you, Cobalt.
So I look at her and be like, that means what?
Go ahead and open it, Cobalt.
He does.
Standing there at the door is a man, somewhere in his early to mid-30s, you would say, at first glance. Gently graying hair, black otherwise, deep brown eyes, and standing next to him is Emily, the little girl. Amelia steps forward and says, there you are. I was wondering when you would get here. Thank you, Targan, for coming out. I really appreciate it. I hope Emily was not too much of a trouble or hassle for you. He responds, no, not at all. We were all worried about you. Just to suddenly disappear like that, it didn't make any sense. And Emily said it was a guard that took you away. I couldn't believe it when I heard it, and I still don't believe it. What happened?
It was a small group.
We were in a bad jail.
Oh wait, I don't say anything. Sorry.
I was gonna
X
say
that. Sorry.
Cobalt blurts out, we were in a bad jail.
In a bad jail? No. If you were in a prison, you would have been in the prison that I help oversee, I would have recognized... You could see a face of recognition and worry come over his face.
Most assuredly, sir. It was a prison sort of beyond the forest that leaves out from the village.
It was against the edge of the woods. I assume it was that prison, very close to the forest's edge in the back of the town? Far back of the town?
I think that sounds about right.
Yeah, that's... yeah.
I had feared that. I wasn't sure about what was going on in there, but that's no prison that we use here in the town. Not anymore. It was the old prison. In fact, it was a private prison. Some wealthy connoisseur came in, bought it not but 3 months ago, and asked the guard to stay away. They had hired their own mercenaries and did their own bidding there, but they were never permitted to enact law or justice or anything of that regard. They would come to us, and we would send them a prisoner or two that we needed the space for, because we've only got really a small 2-person worthy cell. It's a very small town, and most people are, well behaved.
Well, let me tell you, sir, what they were doing there was not justice.
I'm sorry to hear. Do you mind if I ask what you were all told you were brought in for?
Opal didn't pay for food at the inn. He owes 2 copper.
Yeah. So that was you that the innkeep got extremely flustered about.
I didn't know you were supposed to pay for food at the monastery. If you're hungry, you just go to the cook and get food.
And he mentioned 2 copper being the issue.
Well, that's what the guards told me when they beat me on the head.
Oh, gods, no, I'm so sorry. No, having a tab like that to a tavern or something is not grounds for imprisonment. The barkeep, the owner of the tavern, can ban you from their services, ban you from their establishment, or request that you instead work your debt off. But it's not grounds for imprisonment by any means. This does not bode well. The rest of you?
I was arrested for having, quote, illegal drugs, even though it was medicines from my church that I took to help a village.
Medicines? Do you have any of those medicines on you now?
Which actually brings me to a good question. Did I recover those when I got my gear back?
You did.
Okay, yeah, Kaiser will reach into his backpack and pull out one of the vials and show it to him.
He'll inspect it, glancing over it. A concerned look comes over his face. I've seen these kinds of medicines before. They are, in fact, medicines. None of this is illegal by any standards in the Greater Dwarven territories at all. This is very peculiar. And you, I'm sorry, I don't know how to refer to you. Feline...
You can refer to him as Dream.
Mr. Dream, what was it that you were brought in for?
Interfering with an arrest.
Well, that is a serious offense.
Except that he was
I
innocent.
love that he says it so casually.
Was this, anytime recently? Within the last 3 weeks or so? I'm trying to remember. There's only so much time in my paperwork that I can go through, and I have a feeling... Was this within the last 3 weeks or so?
Affirmative.
As I certainly would have gotten some kind of paperwork if it was any kind of an arrest being messed with. I didn't get that.
And I would assume that someone of my upbringing would more than ping a memory.
Certainly would. I would have known if a realized had come to our prisons.
I just kind of figured it was more business. Never mind.
Well, I want to apologize on behalf of the Guard of Dialt. It seems that the people that took you in were not under the orders of the Guard. They were not under orders of our captain by any means, much less the mayor. Those bureaucrats love their paperwork, and I certainly didn't get any. This does not bode well, but I assume that also explains, well, the goings-on that happened but yesterday. I assume you broke out of the old prison, because that seems to be where they kept you. And I assume it was not pleasant, for lack of a different term.
No, it definitely wasn't. The things they were doing there were abhorrent.
You
Red
presume
Eye-
much, but you presume accurately.
The red-eyed warden was very mean. And he...
Red-eyed warden, I don't know of any warden that they had. Could you describe him to me?
Yeah, he had red eyes.
Anything else about him that you can remember?
He knew magic. He could
Pale
teleport
complexion.
around.
He was there and then he wasn't there.
Pale complexion.
I believe he
red
had white
eyes.
hair.
White hair, yes. Okay. That was the patron who purchased the prison. Said he was looking to help shore up our defenses, add a little bit of extra space, and offered medical assistance to anyone who needed it. At least that was his intent, but... well, we've got almost a dozen bodies on our hands back there. We've got a missing person who had been seen in the town before, a sun elf from the area of Solanor had come through here. Haven't seen from him, and it seems he left his belongings as well, so didn't bode well.
He
Sun
was at
elf,
the
you
prison.
said.
The warden did something to him and made him into this giant evil thing.
Yeah, that sun elf, he's dead.
Sorry,
Oh, that's
I broke the beak. off of him.
that's really tough to hear. The beak off. This is a lot to take in.
Let me put it in simpler terms. This warden fellow was essentially turning the prisoners into creatures.
Dream stands up. Would you like a seat, sir?
I certainly would. I think I need to sit down. You could see on his face that his entire disposition, the look on his face is like he's seen a ghost. He's just so in shock about all of this, and it seems like it's clear on his face that this is hitting him from left field. Like there's no insight check at all. This is blatantly written all over his face.
Is Emily still there with us, I guess?
Emily is still there with you, yes.
Okay. Cobalt is going to sort of just usher Emily off the side since we're starting getting weird gory details about this. And he's going to start showing her the little the figures of his chess set.
Okay.
Distract her.
And
Question: the chair that he's sitting in now, is that the same chair at the table that Maka is now laying beside?
Yes.
Oh, that's good. Maka's going to shift uncomfortably because it's like they're not supposed to come into this far into the house, and like this is gonna be like they might notice how big I am at this point.
And seeing that the man isn't looking so hot, Kaiser wants to look through the medicines that he does still have left and see if there's anything in there that could help him relax.
The guard he turns and he looks at Amelia. Mrs. Yashram, I am so sorry for what has happened to you and your family. Your dog is a lot larger than I remember. Is it true? And he looks over to Amelia, glances over to Emily, and then looks down at you, Maka. Is it true what the young one has told me?
Maka is just trying so hard to stay still at this point and be well behaved.
Make a deception check for me.
Crap! Invisible sweat. Oh my god! I rolled a 2 with a -1, so 1.
He looks down to you, Maka, and Targan looks down and sees this and says, "You do understand me. So it's true. You are an awakened."
At this point, Maka slowly gets up in a sitting position and just nods the head without saying anything just yet.
I had wondered if it was just the delusions of a child or if she was speaking true, but good. I'm glad that there's someone here that can keep Mrs. Yashram safe and occupied and done well with her time. Thank you for looking after her. She means a lot to my family.
You are
as I'm
taking
sure you know.
this a lot better than I had hoped.
And you can talk. Okay. He sits back in his chair, eyes wide, but not like freaking out, just surprised.
Kaiser starts digging a little bit deeper, looking for some help him relax medicine.
If you want it, you got it. I'll say it.
Alright. Kaiser will pull it out and be like, "Here, take this. This will help."
Yes, thank you. He takes it without even a second thought and downs it. It's like, now what did I just take?
It's just something that'll help you calm down, relax, and process everything a little bit better.
Oh, okay. I hope that kicks in quickly. Whew. This is a lot.
Beer often does, especially if you drink it that quickly.
Yes, but false guards, mercenaries doing more than they're permitted in the town. This warden character, I don't even know his name. I just heard that was the person who bought the old prison out, doing terrible things according to what you've said, and obviously arresting people and bringing them in that haven't committed any crimes and going beyond what we permit here. It's quite a lot to take in.
I wished to say something earlier, but I remember a small group of guards taking Amelia. Perhaps about 3 or 4.
I can assure you, Wolf, that I know of no group of actual guards here for the town of Dialt that came and arrested Amelia. When Emily came and told me that she was being taken away, it was a complete shock. We hadn't heard of anything, and frantically searched through the paperwork to find a reason. We couldn't find one.
They were increasingly coming to take potions from her, citing some kind of commotion or preparation, if I recall. I stayed on the floor and tried to remain as, well, as you saw when you saw me here. This is where I usually lay when company comes calling.
Yes, we have not been sending more people than normal. There is no immediate need for anything additional. The worst we've heard is rumors of demons in the woods, but they're rumors. There has been no witness, there has been no proof, there's been no reason to increase the guard or anything of that nature. There's been no reason to come. Mrs. Yashram, I am so terribly sorry that this happened. She just brushes him off, like, it happens. Things happen in life. I've lived long enough to see worse.
Worse?
When you live as long as I do, things happen.
Either way, so, pardon me for imposing, but you said that some of the guards went to go investigate and found bodies.
Yes. We heard a commotion coming from the old prison, as it used to be, and when the small group, about 6 of the guardsmen, arrived, there were just bodies littered all across the entire area out in the courtyard for the old prison. It was, as they described it, it was quite the bloodbath.
Yeah, that was mostly the orc, but either way, the reason why I'm asking is because if you were there, did you happen to take a look underneath the warden's office, abode?
I did not go. I was not one of them that ended up going. I was actually watching guard out at the front gate at that time.
Understood. Then never mind.
Yeah, but the 6 of them came back, reported the bodies, and what they ended up saying was that all of them were dressed as guards, but none of their outfits were perfect. None of them were registered as guards. These were people that were quite likely mercenaries hired on by the gentleman that purchased this place. But that's really all the information I have. I know they weren't guards.
Well, that certainly helps explain some of the bad attitude they had.
I should probably bring this information to my superiors. They would like to know some of these additional details for certain, and I see no reason to say any differently. Mrs. Yashram, you're a trusted member of this community. Everything they've said so far is true, yes? And without hesitation, she says, yes, it is. I was part of this entire thing, held as one of their prisoners there. Well, very well. I shall report to the captain and see what we do with this. For now, if those are the reasons why you were, he puts his fingers up to do air quotes, arrested, those are not charges that fall under the purview of the law. You are all free to do as you see fit, enter the town, find some rest, find some food, whatever you might want. The guards have no warrant for any of you to be arrested or anything. I would definitely notice for an odd group, but not in a bad way, such as yourselves. Certainly we don't see your kind around here very often, and it would have stood out. But yes, this feels kind of empty to say, but welcome to Dialt.
If I may,
Honestly, it's just nice being able to take a minute without having to look over our shoulder.
if I may speak.
Yes,
The-
what can I do for you?
The reason why Amelia was taken was a rumor that I remember hearing from the children about a rumor for demons in the woods.
Yes?
And I assure you, from someone who travels the woods nightly, there are no demons anywhere near your lands.
Well, that is comforting to hear.
Yet,
We did expect it to just be a rumor, of course. We haven't seen, as I mentioned, any proof of that. And of course, without any proof, there's no reason why it should have been tied to Mrs. Yashram at all. It's... Truly, I know it's not the guards' doing, but... Amelia, you've done so much for this town. I truly, on behalf of the town, am sorry that this has happened.
yet.
Yes, well, that's why the guard are here. We're keeping an eye out and an ear open, trying to make sure that we keep everyone here safe.
I'm saying
got,
that there's no
uh,
demons in the woods. Yet.
Yes, that's why we're keeping an ear open and an eye out on the horizon to make sure that it stays that way.
You're really going to make me spell it out for you, aren't you?
I'm sorry, I might not understand.
Beneath the warden's abode, in that encampment that he purchased, there was a ritual area. And that is the reason why you weren't able to see, or you weren't able to find the body of the Sun Elf. Because he was transformed using that circle to something that could resemble a demon, which could be the source of the rumors.
Oh, that's very unsettling. You've obviously then seen this hidden chamber.
Yes, and pardon my saying so, but Amelia here was actually placed into there. Thankfully, it looks like the ritual was ceased before it could have any effect on her.
Oh, well, I am certainly glad for that.
I can also attest that I did find this place as well.
With multiple accounts, I'll certainly go and I will report this to the captain. We will send a small group out to investigate. Perhaps if you, at least one of you, would be willing to come show the location and how to get into that would be greatly appreciated. It would speed our investigation. And finding something of this nature as you're describing would certainly violate quite a few laws that this man would have done. This warden, as you called him. Would that be something you would find acceptable?
I wouldn't mind giving a hand and showing you.
I've got nothing better to do.
And he looks over at Cobalt, who's paying attention to Emily. And you, sir? Speaking with my daughter, yes? Would you be willing to help in the investigation?
Okay. I'm Cobalt, by the way. He extends his claw.
Well, nice to meet you, Cobalt. Thank you for entertaining Emily. She's quite the curious one.
It's okay.
And will you, Sir Wolf, join them as well, or?
You may call me Maka, and I am unsure if my presence would be welcome, even among your guard.
I can assure you, you are no mindless beast, and you will be under my protection should you wish. One is not guilty of crimes until they commit it here in Dialt, and you have committed no crime.
And yet I am not considered human.
Well, I'm not human.
In fact, Mrs. Yasharam and myself, as well as my daughter, are the only ones who are human here. Human is just a being. You are of your own mind, and that, we find, is often more important. At least I do. Very well. I shall go and inform the captain of the guard of these developments, and if you would like, I want to say approximately an hour, towards midday, if the latest, we could meet you towards the middle of the town, and together go and investigate these claims. Does that sound acceptable?
That works for me.
Sure. I don't see why not.
Very well. I appreciate your help in this matter, then. This is a lot to process. I'll go let the guard captain know. Thank you all for bringing Amelia back to us safely. She's quite the wonderful woman and a miracle worker in her own stead. Thank you.
Just be careful as
up.
you go. That medicine I gave you when it hits, it'll bring you down pretty hard.
Very, very well. He stands up and you can see, like, his body is a little bit loosey-goosey, and he has to kind of balance himself a little bit.
Out of character,
So-
as I said in chat, basically Kaiser gave him liquid Xanax.
Uh-huh. So he's kind of, ooh, and then, walks himself out, and heads back out and closes the door behind him. Okay. So there's a little bit of time here for you to go ahead and chat together if you would like, if there's anything else you would like to chat about. I know you've had a lot of chance to do that. Maybe some of these new developments if you would like to discuss. That time is there if you guys would like to.
So, Cobalt says, so now that we're not running and looking over our shoulder, I have a question. Has
Go
any of
for
you
it.
heard of artifacts being stolen from a temple?
Not specifically artifact.
There were numerous artifacts of the of Rindesh. They were from the temple, the mountain flower.
That might get around in Kaiser's circle. Would he maybe have heard something?
Unfortunately, no.
Okay then.
No, the person that I knew wouldn't have reached out that far.
Okay. That is the purpose for Cobalt being out here. I left the temple to find what happened to the artifacts that the thieves stole. But I haven't found anything.
What do you know about this artifact?
They were important.
do you know what the artifact that was stolen does? Does it have any kind of special power?
Not that I know of, but I was told that sometimes that stuff like this can be used in certain rituals. But I don't know of what ones that they could be used in. Nothing that I've read mention them other than that they are important pieces of Rindesh.
Usable in rituals. Interesting and good to know.
Kaiser, just after taking all of that in and listening to Cobalt, he's gonna look over to... I'm getting the names mixed up now. Amelia?
Amelia.
Yeah. I hate to be a bother, but do you have anything in the house to drink? Something on the hard side?
On the hard side, no. But I could make some tea.
Some tea would actually be lovely.
Certainly. I could use a glass with myself. She'll start preparing a little bit of tea. It's nice and light. It's kind of got that aromatic going on. Sweet to the smell, yet light enough to pop through. It's not overpowering. You all enjoy a cup of tea. Have your little bits of conversation, your thoughts as you go about it. And the time comes now where it's about time to go to the town center and meet up, as was requested by the guard that you just spoke with.
Better not keep them waiting. Don't want anyone to get cranky after all.
End up arrested for real this time for some reason.
What would the charge be? Prolonging an investigation or hindering an investigation? Something like that?
Yeah, something. Interference with a police investigation. Something like that, I believe.
Alright. So all four of you set out then?
Maka hesitates the most.
Kaiser, he'll look at his other two companions and sort of look at Maka and Amelia and be like, let's give the two of them a moment. And he'll try to usher Waking and Cobalt out of the house.
Dream will shrug and saunter out of the house.
Okay.
Maka
We'll be
looks
just
back to
outside
Amelia
Maka.
and, are you sure you will be alright by yourself for now?
My dear, I was fine by myself for many a year. A little bit will be perfectly fine, even still. And, as you saw, there's no actual charges. I should be fine. I'll keep the door locked, though, just to keep you a little bit more comfortable, okay?
Very well. I will choose to trust these three.
Good. They seem very trustworthy and got me out of a very tight spot with your help as well. It'll be good for you. Get you out from underneath the rock that you've been under for quite some time.
But you know that I've never gone into the city proper. Only outside the wall.
It's true. Keep yourself safe. Try to keep speaking at a minimum, unless you need to. And stick close with your new companions. If you're with someone, they're a lot less likely to be fearful.
With that, Maka finally leaves out the door.
Very good. The four of you head over into the town proper. Through the main gates, you're waved in by the two guards at the gate, and with the gate, they see Maka and see how large he is. Look surprised, look curious, but wave you in, all nonetheless. Walking into the town on both of the sides, one of the first things that you notice is there are people out and about trying to shout out to sell their wares. You see several kind of tents and booths set up on the side, all of them having different wooden products, different cuts of gems, perhaps, in different bits of jewelry, wooden bracelets. There's a lot of wood going on, and there seems to be, towards the back as well, the clanging of steel, almost like you would hear from a blacksmith working on some kind of ware. The buildings along the outside seem to touch up and actually become part of the stone wall that you've seen around the outside. In fact, so much so that up to where the wall itself stands, the buildings are of the same kind of stone that you would see on the wall itself, almost as if they are part of the wall. Above where the wall is, it's made of standard wooden materials and buildings as you would normally expect them to be. Things are kept pretty tightly packed along the wall to help form a natural barrier using the houses as that barrier. Looking straight forward, though, you can see what appears to be a fountain in the middle of what appears to be a large town circle. Several people moving about back and forth between some of the different shops, and at the center of the fountain, you can see that they have a set of guards, two, standing there looking around and trying to get the lay of the land.
How well is everyone paying attention to Cobalt?
To your group in general, they seem to be paying a good amount of attention to you all.
No, I mean, is the group paying attention to Cobalt?
That's a question for the group.
Mm-hmm.
Kaiser, probably not so much, because he's probably mistakenly trusting that Cobalt won't do anything.
So yeah, for the most part, you as a group just seem to be moving along.
Yeah.
What would you like to do?
Cobalt's walking off toward where you said that the gems are because they're shiny.
Sure. The group will see you wander off. You're not doing so stealthily or anything.
It's just shiny and going off to the side.
Mm-hmm. What you see there is you see a dwarven man behind a counter messing with some fine precision tools, metal tools in his hand. He's got this kind of eyepiece over his eye, but instead of a single monocle like you would expect, it's actually 3 layers out of glass, all attached just on the side, and almost like you can flip them up individually. He's got that and is very focused on his work at the moment.
But I can see that he is a dwarven man standing there, right?
Yes.
Okay. So, in his best dwarven, he's going to say, "These are quite unique and shiny. Where did you find them all?"
So you are, you know how to speak Dwarven?
Yes, it's one of his 5.
In Dwarven, he responds without looking up. These are, originally raw gems brought to me from the mines up by Doranil, and I ended up repurposing them and whittling them down as you do, the general gem cuts as you get, and fixing them into the individual bits and bands that we have for the individual connoisseur. And then he looks up. What can I... hello?
Continuing to speak in Dwarven, I'm looking for anything that might have to do with Rindesh.
He now looks like, realizes what's going on, has to prop himself up onto his table to get a closer look at you on the other side. Oh my. He slips into common there for a second, and then back into Dwarven. Rindesh, I'm sorry, I've never heard this name before. You're a curious one.
I
don't see many kobolds these days. Most of you went over to Sanctuary's Keep, opposite side of the continent.
Nah, I'm from the mountains.
I see. Well, unfortunately, I cannot say I've heard of Rindesh. There's not many things that go on outside of my general purview that I know of. So if something ended up happening with Rindesh, I have unfortunately no idea. I make all of my things from scratch. Can I interest you in something? You did mention they were quite shiny.
Yes, very shiny.
Yes. This piece here, and he goes and he reaches over to one side, sees a little bangle that you would wear on your wrist, finely carved wood with a relatively large red gem set in the middle of it. Beautifully cut. The facets on the gem are catching the light and reflecting it in all of these different ways. And he brings it over and holds it in his hands, kind of displaying it a la Vanna White style. And says, this here took me nearly 200 hours to carve the necessary wood around the gem, and the gem itself is truly one of my finest pieces. An eye catch for certainly anyone that would be looking to just get out and show off your wealth, show off your glamour. That's what it is right there. And you're an odd one. I like you. I think I'm willing to part with this for a little bit less, just to let you do it. I think it would be eye-catching, draw people to you. What say you? 500 gold pieces.
Well, he says it in Dwarven. I don't have that.
Oh. Well, it's been a pleasure talking with you. You are still quite curious, but I do have a lot of work to get back to. I'm so sorry. And then he just goes and turns back to his work and seems to be uninterested anymore.
Yeah. He'll walk on, but he's sort of looking at all the stuff, so he's almost forgotten about the group of people he's with.
Alright, so the lot of you, at some point in time, together, you're able to arrive at the fountain where the two guards are standing. One of them turns and looks at the other, and you hear her say, "So this is them, huh? One of those. I mean, they're honestly standing out. I can't mistake it." The other guard goes, "Yeah, that's what he said. You can't mistake him." "I certainly can't." Alrighty then. She walks over to meet you, and ends up saying, "Well, hello there. I assume you're all the ones who Targan mentioned earlier with the whole old prison situation?"
Indeed, that would be us.
Good to meet you. I'm sorry to hear what you went through. We do need to have a little bit of a conversation, and we need to find out exactly what was going on down there. But based on everything we have in our paperwork, as he said, there's been no crimes committed. You are free citizens to wander as you see fit. My name is Mira. Mira Kaim. I am the guard captain here in the town of Dialt, and it would be wonderful if you lot would accompany me to this old prison and show me what was spoken of. You could tell from her conversation she's trying not to be overt about what she's saying, and instead is trying to be hush-hush about it.
Kaiser just sort of gives her a toothy grin, and, well, you can call me Kaiser, and he'll reach out one of his clawed hands to shake hers.
She takes it. I don't get to do this very often. Give me a strength check.
Not a saving throw.
No, just a check.
How do I roll that from this?
Just click the strength right above your modifier.
Oh, okay. I had to click the word.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah, that's
Okay.
a whopping 3.
Yep. So, you can feel her grip. She's trying to be gentle because she didn't know exactly what to do, but there's some strength behind it there, and ends up gripping and giving you a nice, solid, firm handshake. If she ended up trying to go a little bit harder, you would feel it. But she's trying to just essentially assert that she's meaning business based on that handshake there that you can gather.
Kaiser just continues to smile at her. Hell of a grip you have.
Well, thank you. I've trained near my entire life, and I put my strength and my pride as the captain here just forward and to the forefront for everything that I do. Hopefully that's reflected in the handshake there.
Yeah, it most certainly is.
No, there is plenty of business to adhere to, plenty of things to go and see. Shall we make our way back to the old prison?
I'm ready to go. And Kaiser look back. What about you three? Are you ready?
I will simply nod.
I'm as ready as I'll ever be.
You sure we're not being arrested again?
She laughs. No, I can assure you there's nothing to arrest you for. Yet. Just keep your noses clean. And show me what you were talking about with the gentleman before. And we'll be all good.
No worries then, because cleanliness is next to dragonness.
That's a way to put it.
That explains a lot.
Very well. Onward then. She turns and begins to walk in the direction that you assume is deeper back into the town, as was described for the old prison at the back of the town. Following no issues, I assume?
Not for me, anyway.
No.
Okay. You move forward and you arrive at the old prison where you were once held against your will, and things are a little bit cleaner. We go ahead and get some things set up here.
And as we're walking and approaching the prison, Kaiser will go up to Mira, was it?
Yes.
And he'll ask her, so did he tell you about the man that we called Warden?
And now that we're out of earshot, yes. He did mention someone that was being referred to as the Warden. In this case here, I know this man. Red eyes, white hair, kind of a pale complexion, yes?
Yep, that's the man.
Yes. This was a gentleman that we only got his last name here at the guard. His last name was Asterfell. Whoever this Mr. Asterfell was, he came in, he ended up purchasing the old prison because it had been unused for quite some time, and said he would be able to use it as additional storage for holding prisoners, and also he'd be able to renovate some of the cells into a infirmary of sorts. So we allowed it. Said certainly, it's being unused, that's a bit more revenue towards the town, and things seemed relatively quiet and on the up and up for quite some time. At least until yesterday.
Well, the main reason why I was asking is because out of everything that went down here, he unfortunately got away.
Yes, I do unfortunately remember the gentleman you spoke with earlier mentioning that he got away, from your conversation at least. It is unfortunate that we cannot go and find out exactly what happened or what was going on, but I can assure you that we are on the lookout should anything go awry when it comes down to it. Let's go ahead and set you guys up on the outside here. Just dropping in tokens for everybody, and then we're going to set you up here wherever you go. We're going to go back over to this and get a guard with you. So, okay. The 5 of you arrive at the front gate here. The gate is open, and looking inside, you can see that the bodies that would have been littering the courtyard grounds yesterday have been cleaned up and have been removed. Bloodstains still soak the grass, the stone, and the little patches of dirt that you see elsewhere, but the bodies have been removed and cleaned up. She motions to the gate and says, "Well, follow me. Show me where we've got." And she steps on through. All of you should have control of your token pieces. Go ahead and move yourselves in. Let me know if there's an issue.
Yeah, my map hasn't changed at
Yeah,
all.
mine either.
You need to move
Oh.
the player.
Yes, I do. Ta-da!
There we go.
I forgot I have to do that too.
Okay, it looks like I have control.
Okay.
Khazral following behind her.
So Cobalt.
Fancy. We're in free move here, so you can go ahead and move as you see fit. Okay. She turns and she looks at all of you. Well, you said there was something hidden. Where would that have been?
In the upper building.
In his office.
Over here to the side? Very well. I'll follow you. Show me what you discovered.
Show me
As
what
you wish.
got.
Is the door open?
Door is closed, but do you test the handle?
I do.
It is unlocked.
Then I'll open it and proceed through.
Okay. Opening it up and taking a look on the inside as Mira follows you through, the room seems unchanged. And in fact, what you have here is the back carpet that's back here is still moved to the side, and the door, trapdoor, is still there but closed. If you remember, it was a very fine hit. It's very tough to see if you don't know specifically that that's what you're looking for. But you four are aware of it, so this is something that you can go and easily remember and set up.
Kazra will walk up and move the rug some more.
Okay.
And I'll proceed to work with the door itself.
Easily done. I assume just opening the trapdoor, no issue?
Affirmative.
Okay. Opening the trapdoor, you reveal the secret passageway down, and Mira ends up looking, well, I'll be damned. It was in plain sight, and it was just so well blended in. Alright, let's take a look down and see what's going on, shall we?
I'm warning
Hopefully
you,
everything is
it's
still
not
there.
it's not pleasant down there.
Yeah, understandable. I've seen some terrible things. I didn't become captain just from sitting and pushing papers. I'm ready. Let's see what's down there, shall we? Who's going down first?
I will.
Okay. Dream is heading down first.
I will cast Mage Armor as I do so.
Okay.
Kazra will get his mason shield out and follow behind them.
Okay. So we got Dream, then Cobalt, then Kaiser. Mako, you bringing up the rear?
I am actually... first, I'm going to sniff down there.
Okay. Give me a perception check with advantage for your smell.
$22 total.
Very impressive. For the most part, the smells remain familiar to what you smelled yesterday. However, there is the faintest hint of something acrid in the air. Something almost... how to describe it? Acrid is a good word, I think. We'll go with that. It's a faint smell, though.
Something is different.
Oh, hey. She turns and looks at the other three. Did you know the wolf could talk?
We did.
I ignore her, and there is a more acrid smell coming from down there. I do not feel 100% safe, and I do think one of us should stay with the door to make sure that we don't get closed in. After all it takes is one strong breeze and we're trapped in that holding area, cave, whatever you would like to call it.
Well, I can stay here and make sure it's propped open if you would like.
No, you are the foreign one here, actually. My apologies if that offends you.
She shrugs. That's fair.
Besides,
Besides,
as
the
captain of
investigation
guard.
is yours, and you are the one asking us to go down.
That's a good point. Yeah, why didn't I think of that?
I will simply sit and guard here just at the entrance to make sure nobody comes in after you four have descended down.
Sounds fine by me. Well, fellas, shall we?
Okay.
Yeah, let's do this.
All right. So a lot of you head down, Maka staying up at the top. It is a familiar sight from before. The cave, the summoning circle, as you saw before, a situation very similar to what you remember before. I need to drag your character sheets out again, because these are extra. We don't want them there. Cobalt is here. Kaiser, Dream. Maka, I'm dragging you, but I'm going to put you over there. And we're gonna put the guard captain down here as well. Okay. The site is very familiar. Once again, these are things that you have seen before. Nothing really seems to have changed at first glance.
We're on here multiple times.
Are you?
I can see the old ones with a square around them.
Strange, because I don't have those on my screen.
I also don't have those on my screen.
Yeah, neither do I. That's
Yeah, I
weird.
don't either.
Give a quick refresh of the browser. All right.
Oh, I see them. Oh well.
Well, we'll figure it out in a moment. Setting yourself down there, her eyes go wide. By the 12 and all that is holy, what is this? This is... Oh, this is not good.
Oh, thank
This
goodness
is-
it's still here.
This is where the warden would bring the prisoners, quote unquote, and transform them.
Yeah, I could see something definitely not right with this. I'm gonna have to definitely speak with the mayor and send in some kind of word to Doranil. This is above my station for sure. For the three of you that are down there in the cavern, please make a perception check. See a 15 from Cobalt, an 8 from Kaiser,
Uh-huh.
and a 22 from Dream.
Indeed.
Dream, you are the first one to notice this. Over here, where I'm pinging, towards the back of this wall, is wafting the scent of sulfur. It is strong, and gets stronger as the seconds go by, until abruptly, while you're all having your conversation and listening to the guard, suddenly reality itself rips itself apart. A large hole opens up, and looking through it, because this is a loud occurrence, looking through, you can see on the opposite side what appears to be a pure white room, spreading out almost endlessly. You see no end to it. And sitting inside, just on the opposite side, leaping through this hole, as it suddenly disappears and closes, are several very large, very dangerous-looking rodents. They hiss, turn, and look at all of you, and sprint in to attack. That is where we end tonight's session.
Oh, you leave us with rodents of unusual size. Wonderful.
Some good old ROUS, yo.
So there we go. I wanted to make sure we didn't run over tonight. That way Bengali can go ahead and do some things that he's got to do. And I'm also going to try to make sure we stick to our time, and that's where we got it. So, everybody, thank you for coming out. I hope the players enjoyed themselves.
How do you have a pure
Yeah,
white
we
room
do.
and then suddenly all these rats just start springing forward out of it?
I don't know. You guys are just going to have to find out. So, there we are. Thank you guys for coming out. I hope you all enjoyed. This is the end of our episode. We will be back in 2 weeks' time from this point. Same time, same channel. And make sure to keep an eye out 1 week from today for the upload on YouTube, so you can go ahead and get all the extra details you might have missed the first time walking through. I appreciate y'all. I love y'all. We all love y'all. Thanks for coming out. We will see you in 2 weeks.
Bye.
Bye,
Have a good
everybody.
night, everybody.
Oh, and by the way, that day is the 18th, February 18th.
It is. We'll be back on the 18th of February. So yeah. See y'all then.
Okay, see you then.
Good night.
Bye.